Welcome to a new edition of Inside Grand Prix. Today we show you everything there is to know about the Japanese Grand Prix. In Safety Focus, how safe is a Formula One helmet? But first, in close-up, Formula One in the Far East once more. Welcome to Japan. Welcome to the land of the rising sun. The picturesque countryside is dotted with thousands of temples and shrines. The beauty of nature as seen by the Japanese is worthy of worship. A life in harmony, at one with the environment, is a goal worth striving for. However, with over 1,000 islands, Japan is also a country of sharp contrasts. The mountainous landscape forces the Japanese to build upwards in confined spaces. So right next to untouched nature, you find major modern cities. You'll always get a smile in Japan. Friendliness is an indelible part of this unmistakable culture. The people find inner peace in religion. The majority of the population belong to the Shinto faith, worshipping the gods of nature. And what would Japan be without its national dish? Sushi. This world-famous oriental delicacy is available everywhere, even in fast food restaurants. You'll also find a good tempo in Japanese traditions. Even today, old customs are still fostered and practiced. So, speed is everywhere, as though the country was made for staging Formula One.
I like the culture, is different. They're actually quite funny people there. You know, the way they act and behave is quite funny. You know, it's so different. You know, you see like the camping, you know, they're really big fans of F1 there. It's nice to see that.
Now it's time. And south of Tokyo, it's all change. For the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, the cult of Formula One almost becomes a way of life. Not only for the adults. But local traditions are not forgotten. And food is kept very traditional. While some discover their big dream, others are simply happy to be there, live in the flesh. Formula One brings a radiance to the land of smiles.
In fair way, if you say Japan is always very excited, and we're very enthusiastic for the Grand Prix. It's a bit like the mountain and Tifosi, like that. But we are not like only one constructor for it. We do have lots of gods, we have lots of the flags, and I think probably the Japanese Grand Prix, you can see the most colorful the flags in the Grand Prix, because we do have lots of fans.
The flags will certainly be out for Takuma Sato. After all, he's at home in Japan, and it's a home race for him in a double sense. It was his engine supplier Honda that built the Suzuka International Racing Course in 1962. There's more on Takuma Sato coming later in Personal. But first, let's get to know the circuit in Japan. Crowds of spectators wherever you look. The draw, Formula One at the Suzuka International Racing Course. Another attraction is the pleasure park, originally planned for the staff of track constructors Honda, right next to the race circuit. Suzuka's technically demanding track divides opinion among the drivers. Yes, a lot of people don't like coming to Suzuka, but I always find it just fine. After all, I did spend a year here a while back, so I know it really well. I like racing here for that reason alone, and the circuit's also the best we've got in the entire calendar. Technically, it's also one of the most difficult because it's got some very, very fast sections and some very slow ones too. The only circuit in the world that runs over a bridge, Suzuka is on the main Japanese island of Honshu. Grip and the car's balance are key factors here for getting a good result. There are few places to overtake on what is, in parts, a very narrow track. During the race, we speed up to 320 kilometers per hour on the start-finish straight, braking down to 240 ahead of the first fast corner, a good spot to overtake. Approaching the second corner, we shift into third and brake much harder. We're now coming to a key part of the track. We go uphill into a left-right-left combination. Finding the ideal line here is incredibly difficult, and it's easy to lose valuable tenths of a second. Now it's almost full speed through a sweeping left-hander. Despite the bumpy surface, we accelerate to around 300 kilometers an hour and come to a double right. Under the bridge, we steer towards the hairpin. It's hard to brake here as we go through this 180-degree left-hander in first gear. It's the slowest point on the circuit. Then it's through a sweeping right-hander at round 300 towards Spoon. But watch out, it's easy to skid. We need to come out of the last corner with a lot of speed to go over the crossover and reach the legendary 130R at full throttle. A test of courage for every driver. We now steer into the last chicane, cutting over the curbs. This is one of the few places you can overtake, but be careful. There have often been spectacular crashes here in years gone by. The last corner, a fast right-hander, brings us back to the start-finish line. It's a mentally and physically challenging circuit. We'll soon see which driver can handle it best. The current standings show that in spite of Michael Schumacher's failure to score points, you can still rely on Ferrari. His teammate Barrichello clinched the runner-up position at an early stage after his victory in Shanghai. In the Constructors' Championship, BAR has moved slightly ahead, giving itself some breathing space in the battle for second place with Renault. In a moment, head protection in Formula One. Now in Techno, what does an endoscope have to do with Formula One? Who would not give a lot to start to lift the lid on their secret, to understand what lies behind the dominance of the prancing horse? This particular sponsor understands perfectly that there's no better tool to uncover the inner secrets of a Ferrari than this. The Olympus Iplex videoscope system can penetrate deep into the hidden, invisible areas of an F2004 and still remain mobile as it does so. A video monitoring module for the inside story, shedding light on the darkness of the engine space. Full throttle endoscopy.
We're using the Olympus endoscope to look into the engine, mainly into the combustion chamber. Make sure that all the components are okay by the end of the sessions, considering the fact that the engine has to be used for all the sessions of the weekend, so it's quite important to make that kind of checks.
The camera is tiny and can fit into any opening. Once it's in, technicians can examine the whole component for any leaks, signs of wear, dirt, cracks or tears, all with pinpoint quality.
The Olympus endoscope has a very good quality of the image and is portable, and I think that in the way we can operate it is very easy, so we can do very quick checks, and that's quite important because we do not have many time between the sessions.
Undoubtedly one reason why in the 2004 season Michael Schumacher's engine has given up the ghost just the once during a test session in Fiorano in May. Otherwise the Scuderia's engines have been running reliably and without a hitch to the very highest standards. Every second, the car relays huge amounts of engine data via telemetry. And if any small irregularities crop up, the technical crew immediately uses the new system to examine them thoroughly, literally on the spot.
I believe that for the race weekend, it will be very useful with the Olympus endoscope to capture the image in order that if we can see any issues, we can send back the image to the factory in Maranello. We're normally doing it in the factory. When we're checking the components at the moment, it's not done on the race weekend, so I think that's something very useful for the future. Also considering that the engine will last 2 weekends, 2 races, so again, very, very important for us.
And this is what shows once again why Ferrari are currently top of the class. This team leads the way, is open to every new development, lives for progress and blazes new trails, even ones as intricate as this. For the inside story from Maranello, just ask Michael Schumacher one day. He could really lift the lid on a secret or two. Time for the latest from the Formula One scene. Time for the news. Michael Schumacher does not believe there'll be 3 cars per team next season. He thinks there'll be a solution for the teams with Ford engines. I really don't think the outlook is all that bleak. For a simple reason, I think the Cosworth engines, which are already used in the Jaguars, will still be available. That means that teams like Minardi and Jordan will be able to buy or rent Cosworth engines in future as they wish, so that they can race if they want to. Now they can relax, wait and drink a cup of tea. The 2 Sauber drivers, Felipe Massa and Giancarlo Fisichella, have already achieved their aim for the season. They won another 3 points at the race in Shanghai, so now they have 32, already more than their once ridiculed benchmark of 30 points. Our Formula One expert Christian Danner is getting a breath of Formula Air once again. In a 2-seater from Minardi, he put his foot to the floor at an aerodrome in Ticino. The former Formula One driver was thrilled with the 290 km/h top speed and 800 horsepower at his back. Yes, it was great fun, and I really ought to think about driving this sort of car more often. You certainly get a move on. Next, a Japanese Formula One driver. But first, safety focus, the helmet. The arena awaits. Let the battle commence. The gladiators of the new age prepare to put their skills to the test. And like their ancient predecessors, they have the best possible protection. For them, their helmets are the most important. But these are no ordinary helmets. Such head protection, weighing just under 1 kilo, is the product of years of research and development, and not all to do with safety. The driver's helmet sits in the airflow and is therefore part of the overall dynamics. That's why you see some helmets these days looking quite peculiar. It's all for aerodynamic reasons. The flow of air around the driver's head mustn't create any turbulence, so that it can flow smoothly back to the rear wing and into the airbox.
Ungestört auf dem Heckflügel und in die Airbox hinein kann.
Because when you're dealing in tenths of a second, the aerodynamics have to be perfect, not just for the car, but for the driver too. The aim, streamlined harmony between man and machine. A helmet's first job, of course, is protection. This is provided through a mix of different materials and structures. Let's take a helmet apart for a moment. Every layer has its own very special task. The outer layer is made of a carbon mix, extremely robust and yet very light. Fire-resistant material on the inside protects the driver in the event of fire. It's made of Nomex, the same material that racing overalls are made of. Foam material behind it makes sure the helmet's comfortable and, above all, a perfect, firm fit. Individually adapted to each driver's head. The next layer is made of shock-absorbent foam. This absorbs any shock waves, spreading the impact evenly across the helmet's entire surface. And it doesn't end with the helmet's shell alone. The visor also plays a key role. Non-reflective, robust and safe. Tear-off strips are attached to the visor so that dirt or oil from the rivals can be cleared away with a single movement of the hand. Inside the helmet, there's the driver's drinking tube and a microphone for the pit radio. Lots of features that make things easier for the driver.
Good helmets have become lighter and safer at the same time, and the materials that are used, like special foam to reduce the impact of your head if you hit the monocoque, they're very important too. We also have bulletproof visors from Schubert's, not because we're worried that someone will shoot us, but because we're concerned about flying stones. It's all these sorts of details that make us happy to have a partner like Schubert's. You can develop things together, so you can be really sure that everything's safe.
Man kann gemeinsam was entwickeln und sich dann wirklich sicher sein, dass sicher ist.
How safe a helmet really is has to be proven in a crash test. The FIA has very strict rules for helmet safety. In terms of design, however, anything goes, and drivers use this to show their individuality. But even the best-looking helmet is no good if it's not safe or doesn't fit well. To perform their protective function, helmets must fit very well. In Formula One, drivers' heads are scanned and helmets are individually shaped so that they're a perfect fit. For motorcyclists, when they're buying a helmet, they should keep it on for a long time, at least 10 minutes, to make sure that it fits properly. It's also important for drivers and riders to keep their chin straps buckled so that their helmets can't be torn away from their heads.
Wichtig ist dabei auch immer, dass der Kinnriemen beim Fahren gut sitzt, denn der Helm darf bei einem Aufprall nicht vom Kopf gerissen werden.
A firm fit for a safe journey. Many a bad injury has been prevented by a good helmet. Personal today, the only Japanese driver in Formula One. He's really arriving with a loud drum roll, the way he's breaking through on the Formula One scene. Living proof that the Japanese don't always just notoriously bring up the rear. Takuma Sato is giving an oriental tone to Formula One after a year away.
I do love racing, and you know, as you can see, it's like in almost 1 year absence. Doesn't affect me at all when you see the Suzuka race, but approach to the every Grand Prix will be very different because I've got more relaxed time, you know, see how it's going on, and more familiar with the Grand Prix and how the structure of Formula One. So I do feel much better condition than I was in 2002.
More determined, stronger and prouder than ever. Takuma-san 2004. Just 1.63 meters tall, Sato from Tokyo now comes across as a go-getter. Just as the fans would have it, sometimes still a bit hot-headed, but overall matured, without blinkers, with no respect for the big names, and really quick. And now already announced with a loud welcome on the credit side.
Personal goal is a get podium finish, to be honest, and the team's ambition is a challenging top 3 team. If Jenson and I could do that, that'd be brilliant.
Yet while Sato, 3rd at Indianapolis and 8th in the Drivers' Championship, may be aggressive on the track, in private he's a pleasant sort of guy, friendly, polite and always committed, ready to join in and ready to show why Japan, his home country, is known as the land of smiles.
Just do your race, you know, that's all I have to do, and it be as am I, you know, it's naturally, you know, I won't get changed like that, you know, I just do concentrate on my race program, that's all.
Especially now as the next gong will sound in his homeland, in Japan. Suzuka will see one of their own challenging well, perhaps even right at the front. For Takuma Sato, that would be the ultimate drum roll. Time for legends, the first Grand Prix in the land of the rising sun. Japan and Formula One. Everything began on a legendary circuit at the foot of the magical mountain, Fuji. The first edition of the Japanese Grand Prix took place here in 1976 with Niki Lauda as the main protagonist. This was the last Grand Prix of the season, following on from the United States Grand Prix at Watkins Glen, which had been won by James Hunt, putting him into 2nd place in the championship, just 3 points behind Lauda. Niki Lauda still carried the marks of the terrible accident in the month of August at the Nürburgring, but he still had a good chance for the title. He had continued racing with good results. In qualifying at Fuji, he was 4th fastest, positioned directly behind poleman Mario Andretti, and just 2 tenths behind the McLaren of James Hunt. On the morning of the 24th of October 1976, heavy rain meant the race was set to be extremely difficult. Just after the start, in a dramatic decision, Lauda decided to retire in the second lap. He later admitted to being afraid. So James Hunt won points and took the title of world champion, while the victor's spoils at the first Japanese Grand Prix would go to Mario Andretti. 1977, the second Grand Prix on the Fuji circuit was set to be a dramatic event. The title of world champion had already been claimed by Niki Lauda in the Ferrari. On the one hand, the result was excellent, but on the other hand, the relationship between Lauda and Enzo Ferrari was ruined. The partnership ended, and Ferrari decided to hand the car driven until then by Lauda to a young rookie by the name of Gilles Villeneuve, who debuted at the British Grand Prix without any fanfare in a McLaren. Ferrari already placed Villeneuve behind the wheel for the Canadian Grand Prix. He took to the track again at the Japanese Grand Prix. A tragic race. The Ferrari of Villeneuve left the track, killing two and seriously injuring several spectators. It was to be the last Japanese Grand Prix run on the Fuji circuit. From then on, Formula One races were held in Suzuka. And now the facts and figures for the Japanese Grand Prix. The Japanese Grand Prix has run over 53 laps. The circuit is 5.807 kilometers long. That makes a total distance of more than 307.5 kilometers. Suzuka is one of the fastest circuits in Formula One, with cars going flat out 62% of the time, comparable with the Grand Prix of Hungary. The circuit is very demanding. The reason? Lots of fast corners and changes of direction, but with few places that call for extreme braking. Wear on the brakes is therefore low. The track enables almost perfect ground holding, especially in the fast corners. The level of grip is very good. The fastest average speed in a race set last season was 216.6 kilometers per hour. Despite many changes in weight distribution, the track is not too demanding on tires. Tire wear is therefore kept in check. Last year's winner used a three-stop strategy. Rubens Barrichello came into the pits on the 13th, 25th and 40th laps. The Suzuka International Racecourse is a happy hunting ground for the Reds, with the winner here for the last 4 years always a Ferrari driver. And did you know the Drivers' Championship has been decided at Suzuka 10 times since 1987. Ayrton Senna was most successful, winning the World Championship here a total of 3 times. That was Inside Grand Prix. We'll be back for the next Grand Prix in Brazil.